Welcome back to another Retro Raw review. We are reviewing Raw Episode 6 from New York City at the Manhattan Center, February 22nd, 1993. We got the little pad, we got the big pad. We've done our homework, we've done our research, we've watched the episode, and now it's time to up them ups, down them downs, and let's get right into it. So we get off to our first match of the night, Bam Bam Bigelow defeating Scott Taylor, who would later be known as Scotty 2 Hottie. Now, before he was part of Too Cool with Grandmaster Sexay and Rikishi, he was Scott Taylor, the jobber. And, I give this match an up because although it was just 3 minutes, Bam Bam looked like a big son of a gun that he was, and Scott Taylor, unlike a lot of the jobbers and jobber matches we've seen on prior episodes of Raw and throughout WWE, this guy, Scott Taylor, puts on a decent match. Puts on a small fight. Maybe not much. Maybe he wasn't going to beat Bam Bam with the small fight he gave, but at least he got some punches in. At least he got the smallest amount of offense that you could give a jobber. But he didn't just take the beating and get no offense. So, it gets an up for getting the fans ready for some more action and for Scotty not looking like a total dweeb in the process. We return to Monday Night Raw with a sit-down interview with Vince McMahon interviewing Hulk Hogan in a pre-recorded session. Now, I give this an up because Hulk Hogan, first off, although I'm not a fan of the guy, there are millions of Hulkamaniacs out there, and at this point in time in the 90s, the Hulkamaniacs were still making Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania live on. They were still eating their vitamins and saying their prayers and whatnot. And this sends positivity to the Hulkamaniacs, and it hypes up his segment coming up later on the show on Raw. So I give this an up because we get to know a little bit what to expect from Hulk Hogan. We get a little bit of some positivity from him, and fans are more hyped than they were before, ready to see Hulkster on Monday Night Raw. So I give this segment it up for what it did for all the Hulkamaniacs pumped up and ready to see Hogan. And then we move on to match 3, Tatanka and the Nasty Boys defeating HBK Shawn Michaels, who was Intercontinental Champion at the time, and the Beverly Brothers. Now, this match was 15 minutes long, and it had an explosive start and an exciting ending. And it was back and forth action. No one really looked weak in the match. You had your fun moments like the Nasty Boys pit stop. You had the moments where the heels were taking down the good guys, getting booed. This was a back and forth match that fans were heavily invested in. And after watching this match, no one should be ashamed of themselves. I think all 6 guys in the 6-man tag comes out a winner, even the losers. And everyone involved can say, hey, we went on and put on a decent 15-minute match on Monday Night Raw in the middle of the show. And it's one of those matches on that particular episode that fans should be happy they got to see live. We could have gotten a lot worse. This match gets an up. And then our next match is Crush defeating terrific Terry Taylor in 3 minutes and 46 seconds. Now, this match was maybe okay at best, but really it was nothing special. You weren't going to text your friend or this time call your friend and say, hey, you have to turn on Monday Night Raw. Crush is facing Terry Taylor. You weren't going to say that about this match because it just wasn't. It just wasn't special. It wasn't something to write home about. It was more like a filler match. There was no really special moments about it. There was nothing really to remember about it. It was just there and done. Just a little bit more than 3.5 minutes. Because there's nothing special about this match and it was done so quick and it felt like a filler, it gets a down. But then we get to some ups here, because the next segment is Hulk Hogan's interview in the ring with Mr. McMahon. And we have some ups to give this, so we're going to dive into it. First off, this segment gets an up already because this was Hulk Hogan making his first ever appearance on Monday Night Raw. This was just the 6th episode ever of Raw. We haven't seen Hulk Hogan on any of the episodes prior to this, and Vince McMahon even says in an interview earlier on in the night, like, well, we haven't heard much of the Hulkster's future, and Monday Night Raw, this episode will be where we learn that fate. So this being Hogan's first ever WWE Monday Night Raw appearance gets an up. And then the next up we give it is Hulk Hogan announces he's back in WWE. He comes out, he tells Money Inc., which is IRS and $1 Million Man, that he was at home watching Raw the week before, and he sees them take out Beefcake. And his smile went from smiling about seeing Beefcake back to anger about seeing what they did to him. And Beefcake comes out, and they announce the formation of the Mega Maniacs. So him announcing his comeback and the birth of the Mega Maniacs get an up from me. The next up in this segment, yes, 3-in-1 segment, Jimmy Hart turns face and is now the manager of Hogan and Beefcake. The week prior, he was out there with $1 Million Man and Ted DiBiase. They weren't really on the same page, but he was still in their corner. After being shoved out of the way, told your opinion don't matter and we're going to do whatever we want, and taking out the Beefcakester, Jimmy Hart already looked like he was turning face on the last episode, towards the end of the episode. But this was the actual face turn. And this trio, some teams aren't anything without their manager. And Jimmy Hart coming out and, what's the word you're looking for? Completing this trio of Beefcake, Hogan, and himself, announcing they all three known as the Mega Maniacs. This gets an up. Great segment. We now know Hogan's back. His first appearance. The Mega Bucks are born, and Jimmy Hart turns face. 3 ups in 1 segment. And then we get to the main event. Undertaker defeats Skinner. Now, you might hate what I'm about to say. What? The Undertaker getting a down, but it gets a down. Because Undertaker defeated Skinner. Okay, that's not what gets it down. It could have been a decent match. We wouldn't know. Because we only saw 2 minutes of the match. And that's because Raw went off the air before it finished. So it gets a down because we only saw 2 minutes of it. And fans at home, the people who bring in the ratings, the people who are the ratings, people who spend their time at home to watch your product, doesn't even get to see the ending of the match. Gets a down. Well, guys, that was Raw episode 6, leaving us with 6 ups and 2 downs. I love having you guys here and doing these Retro Raw reviews. I'm Awesome One Joey. Don't forget to check out Ring Post Daily on Facebook. Search Ring Post Daily and see the RPD picture, and you'll be in the right place. Thanks for watching. Check out RPD, and we'll see you in the next episode of Retro Raw Reviews.